Hi guys, so today I want to talk to you guys about the leak in your pool. Many times it happens over time. You start wondering why your level is dropping and the skimmer level, the water starts dropping from the skimmer level, and you start to wonder, hey, do I have a leak in the pool? So there are several ways you can detect a leak in the pool, and I'm going to talk to you guys about a couple of them. So in one case, you may have a leak in the drain system. In my case, I also have this spa, and the spa also contains the drain, so you can see at the very bottom. So the leak could be in that drain pipe, and if that is the case, there are several methods you can follow to detect that leak. Now many times the leak could be in your the jets, basically in the pool side. So the best way to do it is don't turn the pump on. You leave the water kind of like in a steady state with the pump off, and you see if the water level is dropping at a rapid pace, and if it is dropping, the kind of like try to determine how fast it is dropping. If it drops all the way to the jets, and at that point it stops, that kind of gives you an indication that the leak might be in the jet area. And the best way to find out is just kind of let it drain, and if it drops below the jet level, so in my case my jet is right there, and if it drops right below it and it kind of stops over there, then that kind of gives you an indication that there is a leaking jet somewhere, and those are kind of hard to detect. So there are different methods, there's like fix a leak and stuff that you guys can try, or you can actually try to find the leak. That's one method. Now if your water level keeps dropping below the jet level and keeps dropping, that will indicate that you have a leak in the drain somewhere. And the spa is pretty simple, because the spa level will drop at a very rapid pace. So now in many cases the spa level drops and your pool fills up. If that's the case, that's not an indication of a leaking pool. There is another video on my channel that will talk about that. That's most likely it's like a bad valve that's just draining the pool into draining the spa in your pool. So that's a different scenario, but in this particular case we're only talking about an actual leak. So now most of the time what happens is, if you have an open pool like this, it's evaporation, right? Especially if you're in a hot weather, like I'm in Florida. The evaporation does happen in the pool, especially with the bigger pool. The water evaporates, and over time your level will drop, so you're gonna have to add water. Now there is no fix for that, right? I mean, that's nature. So the best way to do it is the bucket method, right? So what you do is, to find out if you actually have a leak or if it's just evaporation, is to put a bucket, you can also put it right there, but this wouldn't give you a better indication, right? So what you do is you kind of start filling the bucket with the exact same amount of water as this level right there. So my pool level is coming right over here, and I make sure I also fill up the water right at that level. And if you have a kind of white transparent bucket, you can actually see the mark from inside and outside. You can match it. And what we're going to do is we're going to leave this bucket like that for a few days and see. Now if it's evaporation, what's going to happen is your pool level will drop at the exact same speed as the bucket level, because the evaporation is happening in the bucket as well, and also in the pool, right? So the rate of evaporation is going to be the exact same, so your level drops almost same, right? Now if you have a leak, guess what's going to happen? Your pool level is going to start dropping much faster, and your bucket is going to stay filled up where you pretty much filled it up at, right? And that will give you an indication that, hey, it's not evaporation, the pool is actually leaking somewhere, So the best and the first thing you want to do is do the bucket method to find out if it's an actual leak. And once you determine the actual leak, then you can there are different ways of fixing that leak and finding that leak, right? Which we're going to not cover in this particular video, because we're kind of trying to focus on how to find out the leak, that you have a leak or not. Now there are different products in the market which have worked. You know, I've tried fix a leak at my sister's house, and pretty much the best way to use fix a leak is take your filter out, the cartridge. If you have a cartridge filter, you take it out and you close the whole system the way it is supposed to be, and just kind of you start pouring it from the skimmer side. You know, just pour that bottle in there and let the system run. And you know, and you run it for like a little bit, and then you kind of turn it off. And sometimes that seems to work. You know, some people just leave it running. So there are different ways of doing it, but first you need to find out if you actually have a leak or not. And trust me, most of the time it's just evaporation. People think there's a leak, and it's not really a leak. You know, just one more thing I want to cover before is, beside the jet, some pool does have this vacuum line at the side, you know, and the leak could be over there as well. So you know, you might want to check that, make sure it's not a leak in that vacuum system. And you can do the same thing, right? Just let it drop at the water level, drop it. You can also plug those in. Now if you want to focus on, if you have a leak from a jet and you really want to focus on which jet have the leak, so they sell these rubber plugs that you can buy from Amazon, and you can plug those like, you know, one jet at a time, and then see if the water level keeps dropping. And that's one way of narrowing it down to which jet is leaking. And if you do find out that jet, then it makes it more simpler to fix that leak. And same thing goes with the drain. And you know, you can block one drain at a time and then see what works that way. You know, you can use your valves to block, like, you know, any specific suction line, you know, which could be a skimmer or which drain you're talking about, you know. And that's another way of doing it. So you know, a lot of times, like, now I recommend people to just turn off all the suction lines, and just leave if you have this connection for your vacuum, just leave that running, and then see if the level drops. If that's not it, close that off. Run the skimmer, you know, and make sure everything else is off. Run it that way, and then see if the level drops. If not, then you can try the closing all these the bottom suction, and then so different ways of doing it. You know, we talked about a couple. So hopefully the video will help you determine your leak. And if you like the video, guys, please subscribe to my channel and like the video. Thank you.